Hi, welcome. We're the Weasley sisters. I'm Jessica, also known as Naturally Nitty, and this is episode 245.
And I'm Allena, also known as Starnits. Today is May 21st. This is our bi monthly podcast. If you are a first time watcher, welcome. If you're a returning watcher, thanks for coming back. Um,
So grab your knitting, pull up a chair, and craft along with us.
Mojo, do you have any mojo? Because I do not.
Yes. Okay, so actually, I think I finished these last time when we were talking, but these are the Kia socks. I was kitchenering them.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
They're done. They're beautiful. I still haven't given them to Chloe. I kind of just like finished them and set them aside. I need to. And they're going to be for like detention or something, or a headmistress challenge. I forget which thing you could turn in for.
Headmistress Challenge.
Yeah. Anyways, one of those things. So that's done. But I'm also our couch. We have a full leather couch. Well, two of them. And the leather has been peeling off, or the non-leather, the leather, whatever. And they're gross, and they flake off, and they stick to like the kid's skin, especially Truman when he's like sitting around without a shirt on, because that's what he likes to do. But he gets like little black freckles on him because of this stupid couch. Anyway, so um, we can't, we don't have the funds to purchase new furniture right now. So I thought I was going to make cozies. So here's one.
Which that is awesome. I love it.
So I just basically did the never-ending blanket square where it starts in the middle and it goes out, and I did it till it came down to like the corner here, and then on these sides I picked up along here and did like flaps and kind of joined the corners, and then I just went in the round and decreased here so it would come down, and then I made like a drawstring so that it could cinch tight, and then this is like Velcro. It like sticks onto the bottom.
I
Um,
was showing you. She sent me a Snapchat of it, and so I was showing my knitting group last night, and they were all like, "That's so smart."
well, because I mean, I thought about buying, and you could, like a slip cover, but I'm like,
They suck, and you have to keep tucking them in like every 2 seconds.
well, I'm gonna have to do that though for the backs because the cushions come off, but the backs are like attached to the back. So I think I'm gonna make a big blanket, the width of it, and tuck it in. I don't know, maybe I'll attach it somehow with snaps, or I haven't thought that far yet. For now, I'm just doing the cushions. So I have the one done, and I'm very excited about it. It came out pretty awesome.
It is really awesome.
But that's it for my mojo.
So I finished those socks that I was working on last time. I don't have them to show you. I turned them in for detention.
Yay!
So I actually did have mojo, but I mean, it was pretty much done last time we podcasted, so it doesn't count.
So whips, I started a second one. Um, I decided to not make them super matchy matchy, so I'm still going the same like stripe sequence, but I started with a different color in the middle.
Cool.
I don't know how I like that, but we'll see. I don't care. It used up a ton of yarn, so obviously I'm using acrylic because you need washable for things like that, right? Um, so I went to Joann's. I was gonna do Knit Picks and get the Brava, um, but as I was pricing it out, like they're $2.49 a ball, I think, which is like I'm gonna guess 220 yards ish, with the worsted weight. But I went and found this Karen 1 pound, which is a pound of fiber,
Really?
fiber, um,
Acrylic.
like 800 yards, 812 yards. Anyways, but they were on sale for 40% off, and then I also um used a coupon for I think it was like 15 off of $75. But anyway, so like I saved a crap ton, and it was way cheaper than getting it from Netflix. So yeah, I was happy about that.
That's awesome.
And then Leah, she's like, why did you buy all that yarn? You have a whole wall of it. I'm like, you can't use hand spun for that. Like, or I'm not going to, especially with those kids.
Especially with kids. Like, no.
Yeah. It needs to be washable. For now, anyways.
I have a Slytherin hug that I'm still joining. It's over there. I didn't bring it over. And I have this Turn and Wave, which I'm almost done. Like we talked last time, I just don't like fringe, so it like is a chore for me to do. I don't know why. I love the colors. I love the yarn. I just don't like. I don't know. I'm just a lazy bum.
That's funny.
So I have like a few more. It's like about the length it should be now. So
Okay.
I'm gonna just do a couple more repeats and then finish it.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cool.
what I'm working on. So that's the only work in progress that I'm doing.
I have my newt sweater, which kind of was put on hold for a while. I've been kind of out of it for the past couple weeks, so I need to get back at work at this. I think I'm going to try and finish. This is like the body all the way up by the end of the month, so I need to get to work.
Cool.
That's my only other work in progress.
Okay, so you spin me right round. I have a lot to talk about for spinning, so you can go.
I'm just going to go real quick then. I finished spinning up the singles for my Romney fleece that I was cleaning for my newt.
Cool.
And I'm in the process of applying it right now.
So what? So that's the Romney. What are you spinning it for?
Just a sample. I have 4 fleece that I'm cleaning and processing, and then I have to spin 4 ounces of each one into a sample skein.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a 2-ply fingering weight-ish yarn that I'm doing. I also finally got out one of the Cormo fleeces and washed some of that. This stuff is like buttery clouds. It's like so soft. I did not flick the ends of this, and for the most part, it's okay. But there are some parts that, like, you see the tips there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's such a boxy fleece, like it's almost like square and dense, like when it's all lamelly. So I don't know if I want to flick out the ends. So this one is the good one. I used the score twice. I did 2 wash baths and then did the rinsing. So it's completely clean. The first one I did, I only did 1, and you can still, I think I need to re-wash it because you can still feel a bit of the lanolin. I mean, it's still pretty clean, but it just, you can feel it a little bit. So I need to re-wash this. These are both just like 8-ounce little sections, and I still have the rest of that fleece to do too. But yeah, so I need to get my button gear and get going on my newt so I can get it to 50%.
Well,
Now you can go.
okay. So I've been working since the 1st on my Cormo because I want to get for the Aaron sweater, which Aaron is what? In between worsted and DK, or worsted
A
and
little heavier than worsted.
bulky and worsted?
Like between chunky and worsted. I don't know.
Anyways.
I just think of it as a heavy worsted.
Yeah. So I got 10 wraps per inch on this. And that's after it's washed because I spun up about 6 ounces maybe. But finished, I weighed it and it's 5.3 ounces. You know, because there's like sometimes there's naps that you pull off and but anyways, and I washed it because Hormo, it spins really good, and then I know it fluffs up, so that's why I washed this one. Plus, I wanted to see what it would look like.
Right.
See. So it's pretty like rustic, and
Love
there's
it.
like some neps and stuff in there, but I don't really care because this is a fleece that I processed from the sheep, and now it is yarn, and soon it will be um,
Sweater.
sweater. So I just did, like I said, I just did 6 ounces or 5, and I did a true 3-ply, and I think that I can turn it in for that 1-3 class. I think because it's a true 3-ply. I don't remember. I'd have to go read the things. But I got 324 yards, and I got 10 wraps per inch, which is kind of the worst. It is supposedly 9 wraps per inch, but it looked pretty chunky, so I'm not worried about it. So I have the rest of that to do, but yeah, so that I need to twist that a little bit. I don't know about you, but I have the worst problems twisting my skeins up. So anyway, while I was doing that, so I was spinning that from the first, and then I just finished it the other day. So May's always like a hard month, and there was like stuff I just didn't feel like doing anything. So I pulled out my drum carder and I pulled out all of my fibers. Okay, not all of them, but a bunch that I have. I have a bunch of fleeces in the basement, and my newt kind of goes, kind of is what got me started on this. So for my newt, I'm cleaning everything. I will come back to that, what I was just talking about. For my newt, I'm cleaning a bunch of different fleeces, and processing 2 of the, not fleeces. I'm cleaning a bunch of wool for the shave them to save them, and just other wool, and then I'll process 2 of the wools and spin 1. So I cleaned the one horn Dorset, and then I processed it into Rolex, which I'm not really good at. Like, they look okay because it's on video, but they're not like the best. But I processed it, and I had 6 ounces of this wool, and I processed it, and I got like, it's maybe like 4 ounces, which is pretty good turnaround for cleaning and then processing it. So this one, I did this one first because this is what I'm going to spin. I'm going to spin a crepe yarn, which is a 3-ply. Yeah. And anyways, I did that. So I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, so then I also cleaned some Lincoln long wool. And this stuff, like, look how white that got. Like, you can go to my project page and see how white that is, but look how white that is. Like, it was like a gross yellow color when I first got it. So I've been keeping track of all the stuff that I'm doing on Instagram. I made it a story, saved story, because I just figured I would keep track of it that way. So I got this East Frisian, which is not the Save 'em to Shave 'em wool. I saw it at, I got it from the Spinning Loft, and I saw these sheep, the East Frisian sheep. They're milk sheep, and they're like a yellow golden color when you get them. And then I saw this fleece, and I got it, and like, so this is like now cleaned. You can see it's like a like an off-white, cleaned, but like, look at the crimp in that.
That's pretty.
And that's after I flicked it and like cleaned it, because I flicked this one clean, then cleaned it, and then dried it. So I got this. So this is the other fleece that I'm going to process into bats for my owl. So like, I front loaded it a little bit so I could get to 50% faster. So I did that, and then I cleaned. I got out the South down to clean, and it was so grossly dirty. Like, you can see there's still some like hay in it. It was so dirty. I did not want to flick it first. I just cleaned it because that's how dirty it was. It was like brown. So it's like now like a off-white clean. Um, and actually I took pictures of it, and when I pulled it out, a lot of the hay and stuff just fell out, like the dust, because it's clean. It's just dry. There's no lanolin in it. But the Southdown had it. It was just really dirty. So yeah, I got that. So this is a down breed, obviously. So it doesn't felt. So it's going to be another one that I will probably spin for socks, like the Horn Dorset. So there's that one. And then I got the Cotswold, and I cleaned it. Now this was really dirty, and I just cleaned it. So there's still hay in this one too. And I had like 2 pounds of this, and it was so dirty, and I cleaned it, and I have maybe a pound of it left, but I'm sure some will come out in the processing. But yeah, so this one's like a longer wool. So some people would use it for like hair when they're like needle felting.
Okay.
I looked it up, and they said it's good. It makes, if you spin it, it makes good weft yarn. So there's that. But like, that's really long staple length.
It is. It's like 6
Anyway.
inches or so.
But it cleaned up pretty nice. Like I said, there's a lot of like hay and bits in there. So when I'm cleaning it, when I'm flicking it for real, because it was so dirty, I wasn't even going to touch that one either. Anyway, so that got me in the mood of processing all the fiber. Like when I did the Horn Dorset, I was like, I need to do all the fiber. So I pulled out all of my stuff. Okay, not all of them. 3 of my tubs. I have 4 right now. I probably should get another one for all this stuff. But anyways, so I pulled them out, and I started processing, because I have a ton of alpaca, because people around here have alpacas, and they heard I spun, so they just give me alpaca. And I don't generally like to spin alpaca by itself.
No, it's too dense.
It just is something I don't prefer. So I have all these other fleeces that I got from various things. So I like started processing them together. So this one I've done before, because a couple of years ago at Maryland Sheep and Wool, I got a Lincoln Border Leicester fleece, 9 pounds. I'm insane, because I've since learned I really don't like long wools. But anyways, and so I blended it with some gray alpaca that I had. And I've spun this. I've done this blend before, and actually I do like the resulting yarn. So I made some bats of that, and then I'm just tying them in little like knots, because I think I'm gonna like sell these like rustic bats at my show. So I have like 4 made. They're like about 2 ounces each. And then I sampled it. I have to take it off the bobbin, but I tried like a long draw with it, and I'm not really good at long draw. And then I just plied it with itself. It's like a 2-ply.
It's fun.
So it turned out really nice. So the Lincoln Border Leicester is like a grayish. There's some brown in it, and then the alpaca was gray. So I just blended them together like 60-40. 40% alpaca. So that turned out, it's really nice. And I know when I watch it, it'll fluff up even more, but you can see like there's a pretty good halo on that. So I just have to take it off. So I like sampled it so I could like show people what you can make. That's what I'm working on right now. So for whatever reason, processing fiber in the house cup is not considered a Ravelry craft, even though it really should be.
We won't go there.
So it takes a lot of work. If you've ever processed a fleece, you know how much work it takes. But they say it's preparatory work, because the bats or roll eggs will be turned into something else. So I don't understand how dyeing is not considered preparatory work either. Because anyways, processing a fleece takes a whole lot of work. And dyeing, if you do it mathematically and chemically, it takes a lot of work too. But anyway, because I like processed a bunch of stuff and I couldn't turn it in, so I'm sampling it so I can turn this in.
I totally feel your pain because I love processing fleece, but I have to like tie them into my newts, which I'm like running out of options. I probably
Well,
only
and it can't be. And my biggest thing is it's not considered a Ravelry craft. Why?
I don't know, not a needle
Because
craft.
it should be a Ravelry craft, and it should be. Um, you should be able to turn it in like dyeing, like you just either tell the process or show pictures of the process. That's my personal opinion. They didn't ask me when they made that rule, because if they did, I would have told them. Anyways, it's not considered. So we'll get to why I know for real it's not considered anyways. So I'm test sampling and I'm doing about a half an ounce. That may be a whole ounce, probably only a half. So then I was like, oh, because I have like 3 huge bags, like vacuum sealed bags full of alpaca fleeces. And so that one was the gray. So then I got out some, someone gave me some Jacob wool. I think I might have got it on eBay. I don't remember. So I had this like Jacob wool. It was clean and it was just like little puffs of fiber. And Jacob can be like coarse or it can be nice. This one was in between. It was like nice, but still a little coarse. So I blended it with some dark brown alpaca
It's
that
pretty.
I have, and it looks almost black. So this one's like 50%, like 50% alpaca, 50% Jacob. And I spun that up. Oh, I'm spinning that right now. I just finished it on my. I have to ply it. You can see it. It's on my wheel. So I'm spinning, and that's spinning up really nicely. I actually started spinning it last night at my knitting group, and I had just finished plying, so I started spinning it that direction. So the S direction, right? Yeah, D
Whatever.
direction. I don't remember. So I started spinning it the wrong way. So I'm gonna have to ply it to the
Up.
right, which is crazy. But it's spinning really nice. So I'm sampling that. So I did that again, 4 of those, and then I processed. I have this mystery wool, which I think is Wensleydale, that I got from you a long time ago, and I mixed that with some alpaca too. And I'm pretty sure it's Wensleydale wool because it's got a long staple length and it gets ropey when you spin it. So same thing, 50-50. I processed that. And it's kind of funny, like I processed some the same. So this is the Wensleydale, same alpaca, and this is the Jacob and the same alpaca. See how they kind of like put the color differently?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. So yeah, so I spun this up and I did a Navajo ply with it. No, this is, I just did a 2-ply. This is the one that I tried to do long draw. This one is the long draw one. The Wensleydale, not the Wensleydale, the Lincoln Longwool one with the gray, I spun normally and then Navajo plied it. So I was showing you guys that and telling you I did a long draw, and that was a big fat lie because this is the one that I did with the long draw. So like, see how it's like puffier and looser. I'm not really good at the long draw thing.
But that's the whole point of long draw, to capture air and keep it fluffier.
Yeah. So I did that with this one because the Wensleydale gets really ropey when you spin it.
Yeah.
So this one, I will show it again. So that's why I was like, this doesn't look right. This one is actually a 3-ply with the Lincoln Longwool and alpaca. So yeah. So I did that one. I still have one more of these that I processed. This one, someone has a sheep at the school. It's a Suffolk cross. That's all they could tell me about it. So I'm not sure what it's crossed with, but the wool was like soft and nice, and I blended it with a brown alpaca. So I haven't actually spun my sample one up yet. I did the Jacob. I spun the Jacob one first, but I'll show you that. So I went through and like it's like super soft. and the alpaca just makes it softer. So I'm excited to try that one. And yeah, so I did that. That's not all. So I did this over probably 2 weeks. I also processed. I pulled out all these things, and I have a Suffolk fleece that I bought at Maryland Sheep and Wool like a couple of years ago, and I processed it. I started processing it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this! I'm going to keep it." So I decided to um, keep like a pound and a half of it because I was sending Jessica pictures of the crimp. It was so lovely. So I made like a bunch of those. Yeah, yeah, like a pound and 5 ounces. So it's like a bunch of those. I don't have pictures of it because I already hoarded it into my bin of fiber that I'm not sharing with the world. Um, so I figured I could spin like a sweater's quantity out of that. Um,
Definitely.
so um, I took that and I took those pictures and I went to turn them in for something. Quidditch, maybe? Something you had to do multiples of repetition. I think it was Quidditch. And then they were like, "Oh, you can't turn that in because it's not a Ravelry craft." So that's how that brings it all back to the whole not Ravelry thing. And so I was really annoyed, and I was like, "Well, that sucks." So I just deleted it, and yeah, because that was if anything's repetitive, that was the most repetitive thing. So I for the thing, I flicked it open, I ran it through the jump carder 3 times for the suffix. Actually, probably four. These ones I ran it through with the two different fibers, then split it up, ran it through again, split it up, and ran it through again, and then I like 4 times you run it through to
Yep.
get it so it's blended evenly. But anyways, that's not even all of
I,
my
I will give you fake points for all that work.
okay. But anyways, so I'm spinning samples of these ones so I can turn them in. But yeah, I have to figure out how to price these. But anyways, that's not even half of it. Um, not even all of it. So I went a little crazy. I think I told you this with the save them to save them to save them thing. And I have a CVM fleece, so I got um, this really pretty. They call it lilac or a light blue gray. Suffolk. Was it Suffolk? No, this one's Shetland. Shetland fleece. It's still in the bag because I just got it in the mail, and I needed a Shetland sticker. Um, and then I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool, as you do when they have Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I bought. I was like the whole day. I was like, I'm not going in the fleece barn. I'm not going in the fleece barn. And then we went in, and then they were like, "Oh, we're closing, so make your selections." So I quick grabbed the one I was looking at, and I would make sure it was a save them to save them, and it's a Tunis fleece,
Okay.
and it was 6.5 pounds. I gave half of a pound to my friend who wants to try processing some fleece, but this is like 6 pounds. It's not cleaned or anything. I just took it from the garbage bag that they have because it was so wet at Maryland Sheep and Wool. I like laid this out and let it dry out because it got a little wet.
Yeah.
And then I put it in this thing, but it's got some pretty nice. It's really lanolin-y, but it's pretty nice, and it's got some bounce to it too. So I think it should be really nice to spin.
Yeah.
But again, I have to clean it. But that's not even part of my owl, and I won't get any fake points for it. So yeah, I think that's all that I've been spinning.
You totally have put me to shame on the fleece processing.
Um, but like I said, I was trying to front load my owl, and then I got kind of caught up in it, and you can kind of see behind my shoulder, my table with all my stuff on it. It's kind of hidden by the chairs, but like if I could do that all the time and I would love it. I just love the whole thing. And then I was telling someone on Saturday about it, and they were like, "Oh, so," because I was spinning the Cormo at the time, and I was telling them how I took it and I made it into this, and then I'm spinning it, and it'll be a sweater eventually. And they were like, "Oh, so did it come like that? Like, how did you get the wool?" And I'm like, "From the sheep." And they were like, "Oh," it's kind of funny. So yeah, but that's all the spinning that I have. I think.
This is the Allena show today.
Yeah, sorry about that. I talk a lot about fiber and stuff, and I have my owl on here. So I have like I'm pretty sure I'm at 50 points. I'm pretty over. That Cotswold put me over.
I
Um,
I need to figure out what I need to do to get up to 50% with my newt because I know it. I think I need to clean a lot of fleece
yeah,
this weekend. Though we're not going to be. Anyways,
you're not gonna be here this weekend. But yeah. So Andy keeps like, "Are you done cleaning fleece yet?" Because I turned the heat up on the water heater so that I don't have to like boil it or anything.
yeah,
And I'm like, no, because I'm like, just turn the cold up higher.
that's
Like,
funny.
fine. But anyways, yeah, that's all. I need to get finishing cleaning and start spinning on some of the stuff.
Very cool.
Okay.
So, binging.
Yeah, binging.
Um, I started listening to the Others series because I need to get into something to get out of my funk and to like start doing stuff. So I started listening to that. Now I just finished the fourth book, ready to start Etched in Bone, which is the fifth one, which I don't think I've listened to that one before. So I'm excited for it.
That is exciting.
Yeah. Um, but yes, I'm not bitching anything else. I haven't been watching anything. I've been all blah blah blah.
So I binged pretty much everything. I didn't even put it in here. I'm gonna write it in right now. So I finished the Into the Badlands last season, and then I binged through all the Call the Midwife, and then I caught up on my Whiskey Cavalier and 911. Okay, so the reason why I wasn't feeling like uh, crafting much is this time of the year is really hard because it's 5 years ago our mom died, and it just like sucked. So, and I knew it was coming, but I still was like, what the heck? And I didn't want to do anything. So that's why I did a bunch of processing.
But you like were productive. Me, I didn't do anything. I didn't touch any wool or anything. Like I just stepped away from stuff for like 2 weeks. It was pathetic and stupid.
But I was like, I don't want to do anything. I'm going to sit here and watch TV all the freaking day. But I need to look like I'm doing something. So that's why I pulled it out. I had it in front of me. So I was doing stuff because I was doing stuff.
You better than I.
So watching Call the Midwife when you're not feeling that great is probably not the best idea. I seriously was like bawling. Like the end of the season, I was just like bawling. So I'm like, oh, I'll get out of that and I'll watch 911. And then I was bawling on that. And like I'm pretty current with that. Like I had like 2 episodes I needed to catch up on. That was like 2 weeks ago. And so I'm like bawling and I'm like, what the heck? So then I switched to Whiskey Cavalier, bawling because I'm caught up on that. And I was like, what the heck? So then I think I switched to something else and I was just bawling. Like, and it was good to cry, but I was also like, I can't handle this. I was just like cried the whole day. That was like last Wednesday. And then I switched to, and now I've been just binging. Well, Bella and I are watching Doctor Who, so we're like on the 11th Doctor, and so that's really good. But then I've been binging myself, like NCIS. I don't know why. I guess because they're investigating murders. or people dying and that's like part of the show, I'm okay with it. I don't know. Like I could binge watch that and not be crying as much as I did for the other ones that like had people randomly dying. But anyways, so yeah, I didn't want to do anything, so I just like sat down and watched TV like constantly, and I put the drum carder in front of me and just kind of like kept my hands busy, and like it helped. So that's why I had so much of that to do, the show.
Okay.
But anyway, um, I did finish One Fell Sweep, which is the Innkeeper Chronicles by Alona Andrews. And I was going to read their fourth book in the series because with this series, they wrote them on their blog and then they turned it into then they took it off the blog and they made them into books. Like they sent them to copy and like publish them. But I think I missed the fourth book because I think they took it off and it's being made into a book now, which doesn't bother me because I would rather just listen to it on an audiobook than read it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like read it on a website, that's not fun. But I finished it and how it ends, I was like, what the heck? There's so many questions, but it was really a good series. So if you like sci-fi, and it's like an alternate universe, so it's really good. And I finally got from the library Steel's Edge, so I can finally finish listening to that. But I also from Audible bought the Mercy Thompson 11 book.
I listened to that.
So I am like halfway through that. So yeah, and it's really good. And I like put it off listening to it because I don't want to listen to it, but I want to listen to it. Like I don't want.
You don't want it to end? I know. I listened to it in like 2 days.
Yeah, I haven't because I started it on Friday, and then we had the school festival, and then Saturday was the festival, and then Sunday, you know, like I started listening to it again. You know, like Sundays are my day off, but yeah, yesterday I listened to a lot of it.
They really tie in like a lot of stuff. Like this book brings like
a lot of stuff around
from the first book on. Like it ties in a lot of things together.
That's cool. I figured it would because Burn Bright kind of started that. So
yeah.
Anyways, that's what I've been binging on. So we can go to random randomness now.
Randomly, I had a Harry Potter's Mother's Day, which Mother's Day also totally sucked at the beginning because of the whole 5th-year anniversary thing. Is right around that time, but let me grab it real quick.
I think the worst year was last year when it was Mother's Day was the day Mom died.
Oh yeah. So the kids found this it was just at a not a garage sale, a rummage sale for like a local.
Really?
Well, yeah, so it was like I think they paid $1 for it, but it's basically like Clue, but it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone mystery at Hogwarts game. But it is the coolest game. Like we played it and we're like screaming and laughing and stuff. But I'm totally opening it up to show you guys. So all your like little player pieces are like little witches and wizards hats.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a ghost, Peeves, who like can totally take people out and send them back to like the start. But the game board is totally awesome as well. It's basically like you go to different classes and you have to guess, you know, who's where and like what spell they used and person, place, and the spell or the conjure, whatever. So like whoever Harry conjured the Alohomora spell in the Great Hall or whatever. So you try and figure it out. It's like the coolest game. But yeah, very fun. Totally awesome. I made it for her. I also got the first, the Sorcerer's Stone, the picture book. Is that what it's called? illustrated. There you go, the picture book. The illustrated version, which I've been wanting them. So I traded that out. Excuse me. Truman and I've been reading that to him at night. Maybe not every single night, but we're almost done with his. So like I pulled that up, so it's upstairs right now in his room because we're reading from that now, which is way cool.
It's a really cool, yeah.
Mhm. And what else? Oh, they got me a tank top, but I need to go and exchange this size. Um, but was also Harry Potter and totally awesome. And then a fun mug.
Yeah, Mother's Day was crappy. I got a succulent. Um,
Normally they don't do that much stuff for me. Like
I
it's
guess I kind of got that fleece for Mother's Day too.
which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
And I sold my other wheel. Did I tell you this?
No.
I just sold it. Like,
Ooh.
so a lady at knitting. Okay, so I gave them a spa day, and I mentioned on Facebook I wanted to sell them. So one of the ladies at my knitting night was like, "Are you really selling your other wheel? I want to try it and see if I like it." I'm like, "Okay." So I brought it like last week, and she was like, "Yeah, I want it." So she paid me like
That's awesome.
some then, and then last night she paid me the rest.
That's awesome. I need to get off my butt and offer mine up.
I was cleaning mine to put it on like the on Facebook. There's a fiber equipment sale group, and I was gonna do that to take a picture, and she just saw it and she wanted to try it, and I carded up some. Actually, I didn't talk about this. I carded up some BFL that I had for
Okay.
her to try because BFL is a really good learn to spin
Yep.
fiber, I think. Um, like it's soft and it's got enough of a staple length that and it's grippy. Anyways, um, so but I was just excited because I thought she was just trying it out, but she's like, "No, I'll buy it." And I was like, "Cool," because that was not hard. So I sold it, and I'm excited, and I'm Navajo plying right now.
Now you're what?
I'm chain plying,
Oh,
Navajo plying.
I'm fine.
Um, anyway, um, so I guess for Mother's Day, I kind of got that fleece, that Tunis fleece at Maryland Sheep and Wool.
Okay.
I wanted wool combs, and I think I'm going to get them from Shepherd's Woodworking because I know David and Kelly. Like I've seen them at all different shows. They're really a nice couple. Like he does all the woodwork, and I was thinking I would buy it from them. Because a lot of people like buy like the big name brand ones, but I kind of like the whole buying from a smaller shop thing.
Yeah.
And I actually have a couple of sets in my wish list on Etsy that I was thinking of too, like another small woodworking person. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like that's what I really wanted for Mother's Day, and I told Andy that, so it's probably why I got a second.
Very cool.
But anyways, um, Andy had so we had the school festival on Saturday, and and it's not like a big show for me. I do it because Andy is the principal and I'm in charge of the vendors, and I kind of feel obligated. And so I do that one, and I don't really sell too much there. Um, but it's like a craft show, and I never expect to sell at a craft show. Like a fiber festival is different. Anyway, so I went and I took my wheel, and people were like, "What are you doing?" And kids were like, I was like showing them because I was spinning the cornrow at the time, but I had these bats, so I would like open them up and explain like what I was doing, and uh, they were like, but a lot of people. One of the ladies was like, "But it's so soft. That's wool." I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Because you're thinking of that Icelandic wool that was really popular." I don't know what kind of wool they were thinking about, because sometimes like people think wool and they think it's scratchy, but I'm like, this is not scratchy at all. Anyways,
Very cool. Um,
Anything else you want
Out for cheerleading already for next year for high school. She made the JV team.
Oh, that's awesome. I saw it on her Snapchat stories.
Oh, okay. So she's very excited about that.
That is pretty cool.
I can't believe it's almost the end of school. Um, yeah, I don't know. We haven't been doing much, kind of getting the yard ready and stuff. We haven't planted our garden yet.
So I have not either because we're not going to. I'm not doing the garden this year. So Andy had a phone interview a couple of weeks ago with a college um, in Wisconsin, and then they called him the next couple of days later for another interview, and then they scheduled like a Skype interview the last week, and they ended up just calling him the day before it was scheduled and just interviewing him over the phone again a third time. Like I think they were just so excited.
That's awesome.
They just kept calling. So we're going to Wisconsin this weekend to visit, like for a real live interview, and he's going to be. They want him to stand in and teach a class.
Okay.
Even though the position he's applying for is not a teacher job, it's a special needs college. It's really cool. Like I was looking at the website, it looks really cool, and it's about an hour and a half away from Jessica and my dad, and so I'm kind of freaking out because it's all happening so fast. But there's a possibility that we will be moving to Wisconsin.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah, which is fine because we've been wanting that for like ever, like over like at least I have. But now that it's actually happening, I'm like starting to seriously freak out. Like how, like I have all these shows coming up, and if we're moving, how the heck am I going to have time to do my job
Yeah.
and move? And like we've lived in this house for like 13 years, 13, 14, 12 years, 12 years we've lived in this house. So that's a lot of junk to get accumulated.
Through and declutter.
Yeah. And I can't even think about it. Like I'm seriously not thinking about it because if I start to think about it, I start to like hyperventilate. So, but it's kind of cool. We're going up to Wisconsin this weekend, and I hope that we can get away on either Sunday or something and stop into Sheboygan. Because that would be cool. But I already like mapped out all the yarn stores around the place. But that's what's going on with our life. So, oh, that's not it. So he had this interview, and then we took the car, was the van, the new van that we just got last year, the Kia van with the stow and go seating that I just love to death. The check engine light came on. So we took it to Advanced Auto, and they said it was like the coolant or something. You might need to replace something. I don't know. I don't really know much about cars. So we went and we checked, and the coolant, there was no coolant in the coolant tank. So we put them in, and then the next day there wasn't any coolant in it again.
There's a leak.
Yeah. So then we took it to the shop, and the guy. So while Andy's having this interview, I tried calling him, and it just went to voicemail. And I didn't know he was having this interview because it was scheduled for the next day. But they basically the head gasket in the van is gone. So it's going to cost like as much as we paid for it last year to fix. And we'd already just put money in it in January because this like tire thing. So we're like, there's this website called We Buy Any Car, and they have like a post in Greensburg. So I think we're just going to sell the van, the Kia van that I love, but I don't love that much anymore. So that has happened. And then the Dodge van that we have that is like surprisingly like sticking to it, it's been making like this. It's not really like squeaking, but it sounds like when you turn it on, like one of the belts. It's like one of those noises, like a squeaking, not really squeaking, but noise. And so Andy's like, I think we should get this Dodge fixed because you see Dodge Caravans around all the time. And yeah, and I need a van for doing my shows. And I told Andy, I'm like, we are not buying another old van. Like, if we are going to go and get a van, it needs to be like 2015 or young or like younger. Because I'm like, I can't do this anymore because like we put so much money into these, and I'm just like so frustrated because we put so much money into these cars just to get them to run, and then they just don't work. And um,
Yeah, it's annoying for sure.
so that all happened. So we are going to rent a car for this weekend because I went on Priceline and we're getting it from Latrobe, the airport there, and then it's unlimited mileage, and we don't have to worry about if it's going to make it or if we have to put whatever in it. So
Yeah.
Life is so in freaking insane.
Crazy.
But anyways, I think we're just like rambling on and on, so we will let you guys go, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
Good day.